Why farming? And it's hard to explain. Because there's a lot of other ways that are easier to make a dollar, you know, and to make a living, less risky. I grew up, you know, enjoying being on the farm. I also enjoyed doing art work, and that was kind of my high school deal, was doing art. What was interesting for me to draw were things that were related to agriculture, equipment and trucks and things of that nature. And so I guess for whatever reason, that was kind of what made me tick. I've got a nephew, Braden. He's got the farm gene and really enjoys operating equipment and being involved.
Wheat and alfalfa are probably our primary crops. The reason we plant some of our wheat in the fall is because we're able to get a head start in the spring. We don't have to wait for the fields to dry off, so that plant can use a lot of that moisture in the spring and get a big head start, and then we can usually cut our wheat quite a bit earlier, you know, end of July, beginning of August. For the most part, winter has slowed down quite a bit, but we will haul hay in winter time to my cousin Seth and whoever else is buying our hay.
I sell to a lot of high net worth individuals. A lot of the people I'm selling to are going to be doctors, lawyers, CFOs. When COVID hit, there was nothing they wanted more than their families to be safe. They wanted to escape the pandemic. They wanted to be away from people. And they wanted food security. They wanted to know they could get food. And when COVID hit, both of those things were in question. I look at these people that by any metric are going to be highly successful. And what did they want? They wanted a safe place for their families and a safe food supply. They wanted what we had. I think it's so key to be grateful. I am in Western Idaho. I'm not in Chicago, I'm not in LA, I'm not in New York, I'm in Western Idaho. And what a blessing it is to be safe and then to have the opportunity to raise some of our own food. Say, you know what, if crap really hits the fan, we won't starve. There are things to eat, there's things that can be grown, there's space to grow it. That's a big deal. The things that are that basic, security and food, we have them, and have a community around us of just good people.
So we haul hay in winter time. We try to empty our sheds that we filled up before we start first crop.
One of the main things that the family farm produces is hay. And hay is one of those things that can really be a blessing or a curse. The market can swing really hard and fast, and buyers can be available one year and unavailable the next. We're able to provide that market, which is good for the family farm, for my dad and for grandpa and for my cousin Braden. But then on the opposite side of that for us, what a blessing that the farm provides that consistent supply of feed for us. We're beef producers specifically. And so even though it's two separate independent operations, my dad can help me, I can help my dad, and we can work together.
We didn't have any type of a livestock entity associated with our farms. It was just crops. We were raising alfalfa, alfalfa seed, primarily wheat and safflower. Those are our two big crops. But bringing the cattle operation in, it's been able to use waste ground. It's been able to use crop residues that wouldn't have been harvested otherwise. You know, if you have a crop of alfalfa that's not big enough to cut, but you can graze it, you can get some value out of it. That's worked good.
We don't do a whole lot of winter projects, but there are some, you know, with semis when we got to haul hay or haul grain, we got to make sure that they work. And so there's times where like we have to change the landing gear on one of them, or we'll blow a tire, you know, hauling hay, fixing up stuff. We'd like to build a better shop so then we can work on more winter projects, because it's pretty unpleasant to work on stuff out in below freezing weather. So that's kind of what we do in the winter. And then after a whole winter of praying for as much snow as we can get, it all starts to melt, and then we start working in the fields.
As winter gives way to spring, there's a certain amount of stress, but then there's a certain amount of anticipation, and there's a lot of hope.
So when the fields get dry enough, we start planting, so we're excited to capture that as well.